Perfect. All right. Thank you, Frank. Like Frank said, my name is Daniel Stutz. You can call me Danny Stutz. And in this talk, we're going to go through progress bars and how you can use them in PowerShell. So a little bit of background on me. I've been in consulting at West Monroe for a year. I studied at the University of Iowa, and I got a BS in computer science. Like it says, I've been scripting since I was a kid. I've been scripting probably since like ninth grade, eighth grade, something like that. But been in it a while. But then a little more background on me. Some of my interests are Office 365 administration, especially with PowerShell and how you can kind of automate tasks or assess Office 365 environments. You can do a lot with PowerShell, especially in Office 365. And then additionally, I also do some threat hunting in Windows event logs. So we collect Windows event logs from hundreds of endpoints, and then we kind of look through them for malware, ransomware, things like that. And we try and find as many incidents as we can and stop them before they happen. And some more personal things, if you're into mechanical keyboards, you want to have a chat about those and have some strong opinions on certain switches, let me know. I'm a huge mechanical keyboard fan and just home office guy. I love, like it says here, ergonomic office chairs as well. Got a nice chair. You gotta protect your back, protect your neck, especially with the new work from home stuff. Gotta upgrade your home office. So let's get on into it. So on the agenda for today, why should you actually use a progress bar? Why would you spend the time to take those extra couple of steps and implement them into your scripts or anything like that? And then we're going to go through a demo of just kind of showing how the progress bars actually function. We'll go through a technical overview, kind of going over the main driver behind the progress bars. And then finally, we'll kind of piece together our own progress bar, and I'll show you kind of which parameters fit in where. So after this, hopefully you'll have an understanding of how to implement your own progress bar, customize it to whatever use case you want to have it for. And then at a high level, understand how they work in PowerShell just in general. So if you're like me and you have scripts that consume way too many resources and take hours upon hours to run sometimes, you will see this little cursor right here, this cursor. It'll blink for minutes at a time, and you'll just sit there and all you can think to yourself is, how long is this thing going to take to run? Like, how long am I going to be here? What's it actually doing? You never know because there's no progress bar. So that's a big thing. So let's get rid of that. Let's not do that anymore, and let's implement something a little bit better, like this progress bar. Beautiful, right? It's telling you exactly what it's doing, how long it's actually going to take, and when that little bubble reaches there, it'll be done. And that's probably the main reason I like using progress bars the most, is just so you can actually see how long it's going to take to finish. So some more reasons why you should use a progress bar. If you've ever been given the script to a client or even given it to a peer, they'll often be like, well, how does this work? Or what is it doing? And how long is it going to take to run? They'll never actually know because there's no progress bar or anything that's outputting and telling them, hey, it's going to take this amount of time to run. So that's one reason you should definitely use a progress bar, is just in case you're giving it to a client or someone like that. They can actually see what the code is doing without having to actually see the code or understand the code. Additionally, it'll help, debug and test your code. So you can see which items are, what item it's iterating through. Like I said, it's whatever item it's iterating through, you'll be able to see on the progress bar, or depending on what you're going to use it for, you can switch that up and change that around to whatever fits your needs. And finally, they look awesome. That's obviously the most apparent reason, is because you want to look cool, right? You want to have something that's going to be like, wow, the script is amazing. Like, it's doing so many things, but realistically, you just added like 7 progress bars, All right. So what do these actually look like inside of PowerShell? So this is just PowerShell window. I'm going to run a pretty simple one first, just kind of show how these function.
Hey, Danny, can you make the size bigger there?
Yep.
There you go. Thanks.
So this is just a simple one that's kind of it's just checking how many mailboxes are, iterating through however many mailboxes it pulls, and just counting them. It's doing something pretty simple. But if you add in a couple more parameters or another write progress, you can get what are nested progress bars. So you can there's a lot of flexibility with the command that we're going to be talking about in the next slide. That's the main driver behind this. You can have multiple progress bars within one progress bar. So you can have as many nested progress bars as you want. There's also steps. So you can set certain breakpoints in your script that, like if you have like multiple functions, you can set a point before those functions invoke. And then it can kind of step by step, you can take however many steps are left and they'll give you a percentage of how much is left. And then that's what you'll put in for your percentage. So what's the actual main driver behind a progress bar? So what's the command that actually allows you to do this? So that is write progress. So write progress is the command that displays progress bar within PowerShell. It's pretty simple, it's pretty self-explanatory. It just allows you to display a progress bar. So these are the parameters for write progress. In the next slide, we'll kind of be going over activity, status, ID, % complete, and current operation. We'll kind of go through how to use these parameters and how they actually like plug in to the progress bar itself and like what information it is actually displaying. So if you remember the advanced script that I ran, advanced progress bar that I displayed earlier, this is the output of it, and I just stopped it in between. So let's kind of figure out what's actually plugging in where, and I'll post the code. There's the code. So here's the code for what is actually happening for this progress bar right here. And there's a nested one, and we'll go over that after, but I just kind of want to show where everything plugs in. So this first parameter, activity, querying all mailboxes, you'll see that is the top level. That's what it's stating and what it's doing, and that's what it's going to do. And then for the next parameter, I set it to ID 1, and that's going to come in later. And then for status, I say processing this item out of this total number of mailboxes. In this example, I'm using mailboxes, but you can use this for anything you're iterating through. If you have like a list of machines or something like that, you can use the same exact logic where you're just iterating one by one, going through the total number of whatever object you're iterating over. And then finally, % complete will actually display the progress bar itself. So % complete, you can optionally leave this out actually if you don't want the bar itself and you just want to show which progress you're writing. But it's optional. It's optional if you want to have the bar or not, but write progress itself doesn't require it as a parameter. So how did I get this second nested progress bar in there? Like I said, you can have multiple levels of progress bars. I mean, you can have up to like 5 in one with one parent. So the activity for this is, as you can see, it's going to post it below the parent function. And then I'm setting the ID to 2. And so for the child progress bar, you have to specify an ID and you have to specify the parent ID. You have to specify the ID just in case you want to add another progress bar on top of that, but the parent ID is going to reference this progress bar. So it's saying, hey, my parent ID is 1. This ID is set to 1. Put me under, I'm a child of this parent progress bar. And then % complete, same thing. It's iterating through an item array, which is just all of the mailboxes, just going through a loop and counting how many there are. Pretty simple, but yeah. So that's kind of it for what we went through. So we kind of went through some reasons you should use a progress bar. In my opinion, it's kind of necessary for those scripts that take way too long to run, especially if you're running like get mailbox on like 5,000 mailboxes or trying to pull some way too much information. So any script that takes over 15 minutes, in my opinion, should have a progress bar, just because I hate waiting for stuff like that. And then we went through kind of a demo of just like how a simple progress bar works. We went through write progress and the technical overview of just what parameters are used and where can you plug and play and use those to customize whatever you want. And then hopefully after this talk, you'll understand at a high level how progress bars work in PowerShell. And hopefully you have enough information to make your own progress bar and implement them in your own scripts. All right, so I'm gonna leave, I actually ended a little short, but I'm just gonna leave these minutes for some questions. And if there's anyone who has any questions, please post them in the chat or send them to Amanda.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Danny. And can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Cool. All right, so we have one question from Shannon Graybook. When should you not use a progress bar?
I guess that depends. When should you not use a progress bar? I guess the answer is, in my opinion, never, because I always want to see what my script is actually doing, because I just hate watching that blinking little light and just wondering how much longer it's going to take. But if it's something simple, like the script only takes a few seconds to run or isn't a very intense or resource hog script, I mean, I don't think you would need a progress bar for that. It's something that takes like 10 seconds, I don't think you would need one, but maybe.
Okay. And from Todd, we have, do you have an example where it failed on a particular step or a specific mailbox?
I could try and find it where it's stopping, but it'll basically tell you which item it failed on inside of the progress bar. It basically, when it errors out, you'll see which items came before that in iteration, so you can find those items and see if there was anything different before or after. I don't have any specific examples right now.
Okay, and then from Frank, he wants to know, how many progress bars does Danny recommend to look most awesome?
9 minimum. Specifically that number for no reason in particular.
All right, so David Wiggs has a question that just came through. You were referencing some properties, for example, .count in the variables. Where did they come from? Were you iterating over something for a loop or something? Are there other loop operations that are good for progress bars?
Yeah, so what I was iterating over, there were some properties, .count. I just stored I stored the get mailbox command inside of an array. So it was an array of mailboxes. So arrays have the .count property just to tell how many items are in the array. So that's what I was referencing, and that's what I was iterating over. And what I was using to loop, it was just simple iteration, just having a count and just iterating it by one and counting and going through. You can actually have it up. Let me open this folder. Here, we pull this, zoom all the way in. So I was storing all the mailboxes inside of an array and then just looping over that array and then adding on one for every mailbox that it iterated through, and then just took the total count of the number of mailboxes inside of mailboxes. So this is pretty simple. It's a pretty simple example. I just wanted to show the functionality of nested progress bars. There are other you can do other loop operations. So if you If so, you can either do like a for each. So like you can do the PowerShell way of just for each mailbox and mailbox, or you can do it the traditional way where you have a traditional for loop. So item equal to 0, item less than or equal to array.count, and then just item plus plus. So that's just adding on 1 for every object that's iterating over.
I think the trick maybe to call out, Danny, is you need to know how many total objects that need to be processed. So whatever you're doing has to have some means to tell you that, so you can accurately forecast progress.
Yeah, correct.
Cool. It looks like that was all the questions. Last call. Anyone else? Oh, it looks like I missed one question from Todd. Can you continue after a failure?
You can continue. It depends on what the error is, but you can actually set, I believe, the error action preference to continue, depending on what it is. It depends on what the error is. In my specific case, I wasn't able to continue after, but you may be able to bypass it if you set your error action preference.
All right, we got a reply saying, okay, but it doesn't allow any output, so you can't have it do something after that, question mark. Per the vendor doc.
Danny looks frozen.
But sorry, I was just I was reading the question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was trying to read it and make sure
you were in the zone. I thought your video and audio froze.
Then you might not be able to. If it's part of the vendor doc, then yeah, try catch. I was saying maybe something that can handle an error. That's error handling. At that point, I don't know if progress can continue. Oh, I think
it depends on if the error is terminating or not. But yeah, maybe that's another talk for another day. I've spent way too much time with PowerShell's error handling, as many folks on this call know.
Yeah, a lot of error handling.
All right, Dan, you want to get set up for your next one?
Yep. All right, so